We have some big news to go over today as the Toronto Blue Jays have just made their first trade of the trade deadline, acquiring a flamethrower from the Baltimore Orioles. We're going to break down exactly what this trade is and discuss what it means going forward, as the player they gave up is a prospect that is very intriguing. We're going to break that down, as well as discuss what this means as the first domino has fallen for Ross Atkins, and he made a big trade to start it all off. Before we get into it, quickly, if you're a part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, as soon as news drops, it's the place to be for daily Jays content. Had a video out an hour ago, and now another video here, so you guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Folks, I'm just going to dive right into it. 3 minutes ago, Toronto Blue Jays are acquiring right-handed reliever Anthony Dominguez from the Orioles, who they're playing in an hour and a half, for right-handed pitching prospect Dwarren Watts-Brown. Now, this one is an interesting one because it seems like a hefty pay, at least at the surface level, and there are going to be tons of more moves to come. We know that for a fact. Ross Atkins is going to be busy, but this is, again, the immediate reaction. It literally dropped 3 minutes ago. They have acquired Anthony Dominguez for Watts-Brown, and I covered Watts-Brown in a video a couple days ago. He's coming off of one of the best starts of his career, of course, in the minor leagues. He is a prospect. Let's dive right into Anthony Dominguez here. Now, he's having the best year, arguably, of his career. Played with the Phillies there a couple years ago. 3.24 ERA in 43 appearances with the Baltimore Orioles, 41 innings. He's a very good reliever. Absolutely a very good reliever. And this is one of the he's a beast, quite frankly, just to kind of go over this. He's an absolute beast. This is kind of the B tier move. And we're talking on the channel a lot about how they're going to do multiple trades, multiple things. I think this is the first one of many to come. And this is basically their, first move. And you look at his, baseball savant, he has elite peripherals. He is a back of the bullpen arm. Like, he does have that, quality. His biggest issue, though, is he walks a lot of batters. You can see there, he's a flamethrower, throws 98 miles per hour. That's what he averages with his fastball. Some of the best strikeout stuff. He has some of the best stuff in baseball, and he is an absolutely dominant reliever. There's no, ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's a very good reliever. Is he the 1A reliever? I don't know, and I'm hoping this isn't their big splash of the trade deadline, but at the same time, he is really good, right? And you have to, again, the future of Jimmy Garcia, who knows where he kind of stands. He's having the best year probably of his career, arguably since 2022 with the Phillies. He is an elite pitcher. Now, you gave up a prospect that is a top 10 prospect in the Jays system, which we'll dive into in a minute here, but he's a great reliever. He's going to factor into the bullpen perfectly. And quite frankly, this is a guy who you can trust in the 8th inning. You could probably trust him in the 9th inning. You could trust him in the 7th inning, wherever you want to throw him. You look at the advanced analytics, he's one of the best bullpen arms now they have. Probably the best behind, Jeff Hoffman, arguably Brendan Little, and things like that. And he's been good for most of his career, right? He had a bit of a down year last year from, between Philly and Baltimore. I believe Baltimore acquired him at the deadline, but, had a pretty solid finish, 3.97 ERA. Obviously, this year, he's been really good for a struggling Baltimore team. Some really good years back in Philadelphia. I don't hate the deal. I love the trade. I love the player that they got. The acquisition makes a ton of sense. And as long as this is the beginning of something bigger, specifically, and even regarding the, of course, reliever market, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And again, I think at this point, you have to hope that you get a good player in, Anthony Dominguez, and you got to hope now that you get the bigger, the better version of Dominguez, because he struggled a little bit in the past here. And at the end of the day, folks, I don't hate it. This is a big ad, a very, very, very big move. And wow, this is an exciting one. Now, let's talk about the prospect they gave up. So Watts-Brown is, he's had his ups and downs. He's coming off of a bit of a, soar in rankings. He's the Jays' number 10 prospect, and he's very good, worked very, very hard. He actually made a lot of improvements this year, but it makes sense to trade him, right? And again, you're at the point now where you have to trade prospects like this. He is their number 10th ranked prospect. His ETA was 2026, but he's not a super highly touted guy, and he's someone that at the end of the day, like, I'm fine giving up. You look at his stats this year, 3.62 ERA with A plus and AA, 3.48 ERA. He's a solid guy, but the Jays have a lot of prospect, and this is where you have the deal from your surplus. You have a lot of pitching prospects all of a sudden. You have Gage Stanifer, Kendry Rojas, who I think is going to be probably untouchable as trade deadline, bearing Joe Ryan or something. Cal Steven, Johnny King. Look at all these pitchers. There's 2 position players, 3 really, with Relvis Martinez in the top 10. This is where you trade one of those starting pitchers, and they gave up the one with the least amount of upside here in Dwarren Watts-Brown. He has the least amount of upside, at least in my mind, between a lot of these other guys. So you don't, you love it. I love the move. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, is it a robbery for the Jays? I don't think so. Like, I think that the Orioles got fair value. They got a guy who's rising up the prospect system, just got into the top 10 MLB pipeline. But the Jays, on the other hand, folks, are acquiring an elite reliever that you have to hope you're getting the good version of Dominguez. Because quite frankly, the good version of Seranthony Dominguez is one of the best relievers in baseball. He throws not one of the best relievers in baseball, but some of the best stuff in baseball. His stuff is elite. And I want to just rehash that because 97.8 miles an hour on his fastball. He's the hardest thrower in the Jays bullpen. He has some of the best, expected ERA, expected batting average, all these different things. The only thing he's not elite at is walks, and he's really, really bad at walks, and that's one of the scary things. You can see he has an elevated whip of a 1.34 this season on the left. His whip is higher than it was last year when his ERA was bad. He's walking more than ever, but if there's one, pitching coach I trust in the world to help fix command, we think back to guys, even like Steven Matz, but Robbie Ray most notably, I think Pete Walker is going to be the guy to go out there and fix his command, because if you fix the only problem that this player has, which is, in this season, of course, his walk rate, you can just go ahead then and really start to develop a strong bullpen. And I do believe this is the first of many moves to come. More moves are absolutely coming for this team. I think they're going to get a bat. And quite frankly, them going out and getting this player early, I love it. You have to win one. I mean, you can, Seranthony Dominguez, he might even be available for an hour and a half from now. Probably not. But he'll probably be available for tomorrow because he's on the Orioles and playing his former team just across the clubhouse. But most importantly, this shows that Ross is not afraid to give up prospects. You're giving up one of the lower risk prospects in, of course, Jordan Watts Brown, however you pronounce the name, in exchange for someone who absolutely misses bats, is an electric flamethrower. And is he going to throw 100? Not all the time. But at the same time, Jordan Watts Brown, he was 10th, I believe. Yeah, 10th in the MLB pipeline. He's, around 14th on Baseball America in the Jays thing. MLB pipeline ranks him higher than Baseball America's that just dropped. That had him at 14. He's a good prospect. But I think this is going to be one that ends up being a win-win deal, because at the end of the day, the Jays have Seranthony Dominguez, a reliever that can help them going forward. And on the flip side of things, obviously, if you're the Orioles, you got a top 10 prospect in a fairly okay, system for the Toronto Blue Jays regarding their farm system. So win-win. I think it'll go down as a win-win, but all of that obviously depends on how, specifically how Seranthony Dominguez does. And then, of course, what Jordan Watts Brown turns out into. But folks, let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Also, a quick note as well, he is a pending UFA. This is a rental, so not a steep price to pay, but I think the price that you're going to be paying now for relievers is pretty high. We know Ben Nicholson tweeted that Jays need more pitching. More moves are on the horizon, folks, and hopefully the Jays can go ahead and get another David Bednar, Ryan Helsley type like that. They play in an hour and a half, so it's going to be crazy. We'll keep you up to date every step of the way. Tons of more news coming. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in a video probably sooner rather than later.